Welcome back to Is Anything Real in the show where we cut through the noise, call out the mirages, and figure out whether your ad dollars are building equity or just evaporating in Mountain View's cloud. Here's today's cold take, hot enough to burn. 10 years ago, $50 on Google Ads could build a business. Today, that $50 barely buys you a latte and a CPM spike. So what's left? What's real? Joining me is Peter Kalanda, founder of Three Horizons Interactive, whose career spans everything from managing a hotel in New York City to scaling a B2C business from $100K to $3 million, and now running a full-stack SEO, SEM, and web design shop. Peter, welcome to the show.
Adam, great to be here. Looking forward to our conversation.
Cool. Peter, your story starts in hospitality and finance and then takes a sharp turn into digital marketing. Let's rewind. What pulled you from Ernst & Young to SEM dashboards?
That's a good question. So I started out in hospitality. I managed a hotel in New York City for quite a long time, a couple of years. Started out at the front desk, working my way up. Small hotel in New York City. Learned a lot. You learn a lot. It's customer service. It's all about experiences.
Yep.
That goes the same thing with digital marketing. It's a good transition. I feel like, when someone comes to a hotel, they check in. They want to be treated well. They want service from the money that they pay, and it's kind of the same thing with digital marketing. You pay a certain amount, and you expect a result. The way that I got into it, there was a couple of the company that I worked for had a couple of other hotels in Manhattan as well. I kept in contact with one of the general managers, and he moved on and created one of the first booking engines for websites. So I came on, kind of helped out with the financial aspect of it. It was all hands on deck. A new agency that he started after he sold this booking engine company.
Wow.
It started out in hospitality, was a good kind of entry point for me, and then kind of just learned everything as with hands-on, kind of making mistakes, taking online courses, doing all that stuff, and that's kind of how I got into it. It was something that I felt like I could do, and why not just give it a shot? It's completely different. I thought to myself, I always have that hospitality aspect to fall back on because you're always going to need a hotel. People are always going to be traveling, right?
Yeah.
And it was great because it was in that hospitality field, which was a great kind of entry point.
That's fantastic. I mean, I have to say the nonlinearity in so many, careers within marketing is such an important part to set up the success in marketing.
Yeah.
And I know now up to where we are now, both of us have managed millions in ad spend, yet neither of us click ads. What do you think that says about the channel?
It's a great question. You're right. I can't remember the last time I clicked an ad. I usually just go to the organic result. It's a great question. I think it's just because we're so used to being in the back end, seeing the platforms and working within these tools that we just know where to go to and what we were looking for. Sometimes, you type a keyword and something else completely not related to the search result pops up, which is a complete waste of spend for the client. And it might be a clue as to maybe the people who set up this ad or who are running this program for you are not the right people. Or have you checked it? Do you go in and look and see what's going on in the site? Are you getting monthly, weekly reports? I think that's kind of like the biggest thing for me. I think when I type in a long tail or short keyword into Google and then I just see something that I don't like, and I usually just scroll down and find the link that I'm actually looking for.
Interesting. I mean, in that realm, is paid advertising from your perspective and the client work you're doing now more of a visibility tax than a conversion engine, or is it still a valuable place to play?
I think it's it depends on what you're bidding on. If it's certain keyword, it's high intent, it's maybe longer than the generic, like hotel in New York City, that's probably top of the funnel. If you're looking at hotel near Union Square or hotel near the Jacob Javits Center, maybe that's a little bit more targeted. So there's definitely still value, obviously, to paid advertising. It's a good entry point for someone who's just started out, who has a new website. There's no authority score to it. It hasn't been around. It's a new URL. Organically, it's going to take some time. But with paid, if you're targeted, if you know you're targeting to, if you don't, do a huge net, if it's, targeted by zip code or location, then there's a potential to definitely bring in that user, you put them in your funnel and convert them either right away or later on, and kind of nurture them through kind of different forms of advertising as well. I've seen plenty of times where an agency has bid on a word and it's just targeted incorrectly, where it's just all of the United States, and it's for example, like an ice cream shop in Vermont. Why would you target California? And that's just because either they don't know, or no one is checking it, or certain other things. But you just waste your budget like super quickly. And people have limited budgets. I've worked with people who have, who just want to spend $200-300 a month. And you have to be super, super careful and targeted, because you could blow that thing in 20 minutes if you just don't do it the right way.
If you're not careful, right? And then there's still that impact. I know you've said, SEO and SEM must work together. And I think you and I are in agreement there. Why do you think so many businesses still silo them?
I just think they just don't know, honestly. And I've been preaching that for so long, because they just work hand in hand. If you don't have the right keywords, title, description, structure, data, all those technical things of SEO, and then you're bidding on, again, I'm going to use that, I'll use a Pilates example, like Pilates, and that's a client that I have, a Pilates studio in where it could be anywhere, Manhattan. If you don't have that on as a keyword, obviously you're bidding on, and then it's nowhere on the page that you're targeting, and it's nowhere in the title and the description and that URL, then you're just wasting your money, and people are probably outbidding you, because it all kind of works hand in hand. There's like what are the thing, I'm sure your listeners know, a quality score, right?
Right.
The higher the quality score, the better.
Right.
And now with there's a little bit change with performance max campaigns. It's a little different now. But those kind of technical and fundamentals are still true. All these things kind of work together. I believe in the holistic kind of approach, where it's social media, SEO, paid, kind of work hand in hand.
Do you have any examples? Of course, no NDA in place here, but of a simple landing page update you've made that outperformed maybe weeks or even months of paid media?
Yeah, I mean, there's one of the ones that I do with clients, if it's a brick and mortar, and it's local SEO, localized, what we do is kind of make landing pages for different types of services. For example, it's an accounting firm, right? Or a lawyer, a personal injury lawyer in Orlando, Florida. Could create a landing page for that, and not necessarily have to be on the site and visible by the user, but it'll bring visitors to your site because that page is out there and it's optimized. Again, meta descriptions, title descriptions, the keyword is there, images, alt text, content, FAQs, it's all there. And you can redo that kind of landing page for multiple landing pages. And it doesn't have to be part of your sitemap, or not part of your menu. So, you're not going to have a drop down with 50 different services and stuff like that. But that has worked great for multiple clients.
I mean, that's an incredible piece to bring up. That's one of those foundations that I don't think gets talked about too frequently. Even when you talk about huge clients spending a lot of money, is the value of what I've always thought of as marketing landing pages. They don't sit in your central navigation, but they're essential for your customer on the customer journey or for filling a gap in that organic coverage.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and the content part of it is, you want to make sure you have a way to the customer to find you, and you could have that landing page, but I've seen a lot where people do that and there's no contact form or phone number or whatever it may be. It just doesn't exist. So like you're getting the views, but then why am I not getting conversions? Stuff like that. And always test your contact form.
Right.
That I've seen where it just doesn't go anywhere.
Don't just blindly believe that it's going to work when you set it up, right?
Exactly.
Test everything, have test accounts. I can't tell you how many times with clients we've had where maybe you're talking more B2C specific, of course.
Yeah.
But they don't have a test credit card to use, right? To even run a transaction, to go step even deeper.
Through the whole flow. Yeah, if it's a B2C client, you want to go through the whole thing where you actually get the package delivered also. And you want to do that a few times because sometimes, these boxes come and they're damaged and you don't know.
Right.
So there's a lot of testing is another. We could have another podcast conversation just about testing. I feel like
we used to call it in my early agency days ABT, always be testing, right? It's an important thing. We should put that on a t-shirt.
Oh man, there you go.
That said, when you inherit a new client, in your work there at Three Horizons these days, what's the first fix you usually spot?
The first fix I usually spot is, this rarely happens that much, but the first thing that I look at, if you're indexable by Google, and there's been a handful times where it's no index the whole website, it's you're just not going to be found. Right. Then the second thing is probably I just look at the home page, make sure that's structured correctly with the right headings and titles and descriptions. That's kind of what we work on first, and then what I said again with the contact form.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So there's three things we look at right away.
Yeah. I mean, sort of, shifting gears, of course, into more of the AI world and the future of human expertise. You've mentioned, how you've seen firsthand the way AI generated designs can mimic human work. Where do you draw the line between what I would say is impressive versus what's dangerous?
Yeah. We had a client where we did an amazing design. He wasn't sure at first. He goes, why am I going to pay, you guys to do design where I can just go into any of these LLMs and type in what I want, and it will get it close to kind of what I want it to look.
Yep.
But when he saw what an actual designer can do, he was blown away. So the real person, if real designer is still important. That who knows how long that's going to last. I mean, these things are going to get so smart and be able to generate websites on the fly probably.
Yep.
But there's still the part of it, like who owns that content now? Is it the designer? Is it the people who want the website built? And if you throw it into ChatGPT and say, I want this design or this logo, just make some variations so I could use it on another parts of the website. Should the designer get paid that, or is it just because I already have the design, I paid for it?
Right?
Can I just repurpose it? And it gets pretty close, honestly. We tested it with the design, and it got pretty close to how it was. So it's a crazy space. LLMs is like the wild west.
Right.
But I think I still believe that the foundations and the core fundamentals of SEO, and want to make sure that you're being cognizant of LLMs and making sure you're the authority in the space, having FAQs on your site, and almost at this point we're advocating for FAQs on almost a lot more pages than usual.
Oh, really? Interesting. That's a nuance there, huh? That's fascinating.
Yeah, but like a lot of the times, FAQs on our collections, we have some FAQs on all our collection pages for a B2C client.
Yep.
So yeah.
I mean, and that sort of ties to, how we think about Google's SGE and AI powered search.
Mm-hmm.
It ties into, I think marketers probably view this as an entirely new channel.
Yeah.
It sort of is, but it also sort of isn't. There's a flip side to that coin.
Yeah, it definitely, that's kind of where I've been kind of looking at it too, is like, this is another channel. And, the latest item that I read, it was about 2 weeks ago, that we have to teach clients to teach their users to use LLMs, and you almost uses it as branded search. So like, to find us and use our keyword in these LLMs, and it'll be able to get you what you want to see, what your information, kind of information,
right?
Which is an interesting concept, to go in and search based on the brand that you enjoy, you work with, or you're looking for.
Right.
It's kind of it's kind of a cool approach, I think.
That's a different way to look at it. And I mean, I guess we could probably like play it forward a little bit.
Yeah.
If we start seeing AI search eating both organic and paid clicks, where should agencies double down to keep clients ahead of the curve?
Yeah. It's, right now I think SEO is obviously not dead. It's still organic is huge. Google's still the #1 player, but it's slowly eating away. I mean, I'm getting, when I look at clients' analytical data, I see ChatGPT and Perplexity searches much more, weekly and daily. So you just want to be able to, you just want to be, you want to have that, again, like the whole LLM thing, you just want to have the foundations of SEO, and if you have that there, you will appear in these search results. And a great way to kind of do that is, like, if you go to your website, what would you want to know? What's the question you want to ask? If you ask that into ChatGPT, Perplexity, or any of these LLMs, you should have that question and answer on your website.
That's a good point. Right.
Yeah.
What would you say the weirdest client expectation you've had to reset in any of these channels might have been? Whether it's paid, whether it's organic.
I want to show up a hotel in New York City to a property that just opened and had a new website. I want to appear in, and for that term, in 2 months, which is almost impossible. There's Marriott's, there's Hyatt's that have been around forever.
Yep.
So you have to, temper that expectation. Be like, we will try to get you there, but we will do our best to get you in the long tail kind of aspect to it.
Right.
Let's talk about your content, what kind of services you offer, post on social media. Make sure you're writing blogs and being out there, and what distinguishes the hotel is the best thing.
I mean, you basically have to layer one brick on top of the other. You can't make the whole wall in one fell swoop, right? So it's being strategic about it.
Exactly.
Awesome, Peter. Well, this was a killer conversation. It was incredible to go from SEO hacks into even AI trademark and attribution without missing a beat. Where can folks find more about what you're building at Three Horizons Interactive?
Well, I'm actually doing an offer right now where you can have a 15-minute audit of your site. You just put your name, email, and the URL freesiteauditnow.com.
Awesome.
And hit me up. We can schedule a call, and I can give you 3 or 4 pointers that you yourself can implement without any technical, implementation. And if there's more, we can have a further conversation. But yeah, again, freesiteauditnow.com, and let's work together. Let's fix your site and get it where you want it to be.
And we'll have that linked below in the show notes for everyone here who's listening today. But thanks for tuning into Is Anything Real, in the show where we sift the signal from the noise. I'm Adam W. Barney. And one last thing, if you're still throwing dollars into Google Ads like it's 2010, you're not buying growth, you're tipping the house. Let's rethink the funnel and let's future-proof the strategy. But Peter, thank you for joining today.
Thank you, Adam.
If this episode of Is Anything Real resonated, you're probably at a moment where the old playbook isn't holding anymore. I work with transitioning founders and executives to install operating rhythms that hold under pressure. Not motivation, not hype. I've spent over 20 years inside high-pressure environments and worked with over 300 leaders through moments where clarity mattered more than speed. If you want clarity you can actually rely on, book a foundation call at adamwbarney.com. Clarity over chaos, always.